Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Thursday, October 20th. How you doing? So we started off today. We had a nice rally going there in the morning. Market was up over 300 points. And then bam! We got some Fed comments, some Hawkish Fed comments. You got to continue to expect this, folks, and I'm going to get into it. But notice today that the comments, I mean, these are comments made today would have been enough to send the market down like 1,000 points in August or September. I mean, we gave up the rally and we closed lower, but off the lows and, just fractional declines. But anyway, the comments came from Philly Fed President Harker, I think his name is. I forget his first name. Anyway, I put the comment up here. He said he's very disappointed in the Fed's progress on inflation. And my reaction to that is, why are you disappointed? The Fed has made incredible progress on inflation. It has kept the general price level higher than it would have been if it hadn't raised interest rates so far and so fast. I mean, these guys, it's just amazing to me. And I've said this over and over and over again. I don't know how many videos I've done on this subject, but, this is like just some crazy, insane belief system where these guys keep doing the same thing. Oh, and it's not just the Fed. I mean, you look around the world. I've given these examples. You see Turkey, you see Argentina, you see Brazil, you see Ukraine. There's a bunch of examples where the rates are, they're raised and the inflation goes right along with it. These guys are all economists, some of them are bankers, and they just don't seem to understand that the cost of credit, the funny thing is they'll even mention it. Things are getting more expensive, we're raising the rates. Yeah, because the cost of credit is reflected in the cost of all goods and services. Folks, this is like a crazy, insane cult. It's like a sick, distorted mentality. Again, any credible science, any credible anything, if their theories resulted in the opposite of what they were trying to achieve, those theories would be re-examined. They would go back, whatever it was, and say, look, something's not working out right here, because we're doing A, expecting to get B, but instead we keep getting C. But these guys just keep on doing the same thing. They keep doubling down, they keep tripling down, they keep quadrupling down. It's really it's an insanity. I've said before, this is Einstein's classic definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result every time. I mean, this is classic insanity. This is not science. This is not rational. And it's unique. It's unique to, I won't even say, I'll give these guys a break. It's not just unique to central banking or mainstream economics. It's unique to this paradigm of monetarism. Monetarism is the problem behind all of this. Monetarism, as I've said in the past, it's a sickness, it's a mental illness. But it pervades everything. It is infused and ingrained into every aspect of policy, economic policy, fiscal policy, everything. Monetarism. And these guys it's an orthodoxy that they can't get off of. They continue on and on and on with the same thing. And so, expect that the Fed's going to continue raising rates. And the funny thing that's going to happen is that it's not going to result in a recession. Okay, we see economic output picking up. It's not going to result in lower inflation. Okay, inflation may moderate because of other circumstances, like this guy Harker, in the speech he gave, he did talk about, he didn't just blame the Fed. He said, he blamed other policy decisions like the war in Ukraine, but he never mentioned he'd probably get in a lot of trouble if he said that, yeah, because the United States put sanctions on everything, completely, disrupted, again, the global supply chain for energy and food. When the supply chain was starting to ease up and things were starting, some of those pressures were starting to abate, that came about as a result of COVID. So you can't mention that because that would be a direct attack on, his boss, basically, which is was the president of the United States, Biden. But it's just, I don't know what to say about this anymore. It's beyond maddening. It's beyond frustrating. It's sickening. It's just sickening. I mean, these guys, when you think about them and these women, they all are highly, highly educated. They went to the finest schools. They have all these elite connections. They run in circles at the highest level of our society. So they're very, very educated. They're surrounded by people who are like themselves, very, very educated. But at the same time, simultaneously, they're really, really dumb. They refuse to depart from this orthodoxy that they have, and they just keep doubling down on it and tripling down on it. And at the end of the day, it's not just insane, but it's dangerous. It's dangerous. I mean, they're doing things here, and I'm not worried about necessarily a danger to the economy. I mean, here's the thing, that I always tell you guys is that it's ironic that they don't see this, but their rate hikes, rate adjustments, as I've said in the past, are nothing more than redistributions of income. Okay, some people lose, some people gain. The interesting thing about rate hikes as opposed to rate cuts is that rate hikes are a fiscal operation. They increase the income transfers to the economy from the government to the economy. So rate hikes, although they're considered to be, a tool, a powerful tool to slow things down or squash inflation, they're actually a fiscal expansion. If you understand what it is, it is just increasing the net income transfers to the economy from the government. And we're going to see. I mean, at some point, like I said before, if this guy would have made these statements and he capped it off basically by saying, rates are going to be way above 4%. I mean, now they're really kind of, I think, hinting at 5%, maybe even higher than that. But these comments back in August and September would have sent the market down 1,000 points. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. Today wasn't a big decline. Yeah, we gave up that rally in the morning, but that's okay. The market is still in a condition where, we're recovering still. The economy is recovering still from a massive, I would say an unprecedented, at least on a nominal basis, an unprecedented cut in fiscal support in 2022 compared to 2021, right? 1.7 trillion, almost 2 trillion taken out. You talk about, again, going back to the swimming pool analogy, that's like massive drain on the pool, massive drain on the pool. So you had to adjust to that. But it looks like things have stabilized, since I would say late July through September, things have started to stabilize. And that's why I think we're getting closer to an inflection point. And that inflection point, once we reach it, that's the point where these comments and actual rate hikes are going to lose their ability to impact the market in a negative way, because what that inflection point is the point where the fiscal expansion from those income transfers, and again, that's due to the rate increases, when those fiscal transfers are accelerating fast enough to really ignore the negative impact on the rates. In other words, you got income flowing into the economy at a rate which is going to pretty much guarantee, higher economic activity. And as a matter of fact, we could also look right now at the slew of earnings reports that we've been getting, I mean, nearly every single one has been a beat, okay? So that's all good. It shows that, you know, we reached some kind of an equilibrium. We reached some kind of stability after having, you know, had to absorb that gigantic fiscal cut. And now, you know, we're lifting off that base of stability. So, but don't expect these comments to end. When you see these things or when you hear these things, there's always going to be that reflexive reaction by people because that's all they know. I don't necessarily blame people for reacting that way because that's what's been programmed into their heads. You know, this monetarism, again, like I said, it's infected everything. Not here, not this channel, not me. I try to, you know, immunize you against that stuff, right? That's what this channel is. It's immunization. It's a vaccination. This is a vaccination that you can believe in, folks. Whether you believe in vaccinations or not, you come here, you get vaccinated, you get immunized, and you're not going to be infected with that sickness of monetarism. You'll understand why everybody else is getting, you know, infected by it or has been infected by it. You'll understand their behavior, but you will be immune to that behavior. All right, and you'll have ways to take advantage of their actions that are based on that behavior. But it's in everything. It is in absolutely everything. So don't expect these comments will come with ever more frequency because, again, as I said, their policy is just not going to do the job. I mean, we're on the same trajectory. I wouldn't say it's as acute or bad as something like Turkey or Argentina, but we're on that trajectory, just maybe at a lower level. But, you know, that's the slope. That's the line. They're just going to keep raising rates. And, you know, that's just going to keep the price level up. It's not going to come down. I mean, it's not going to come down. You know, and a good example is Japan, which has not, the Bank of Japan, I have to give them credit, keeping rates negative at negative, 0.1%. There's virtually no inflation in Japan. I think it's around 2%, even with high energy prices. And they're a 100% importer of all their energy, of oil. You know, they shut off their nuclear reactors after Fukushima. You know, now they're starting to talk about maybe we ought to turn them back on again, but nothing has been finalized with respect to that. But I mean, there you have it. I mean, the examples are so clear. These guys, the thing is, like, they just ignore that. They ignore that. Argentina, 75% interest rates. Now the inflation's up to 100%. The interesting thing about Turkey, and we have to stay kind of focused on that or just keep it in mind, is that Turkey has been kind of like cutting rates. As a matter of fact, today, I think there wasn't an official rate cut, but there was some kind of rate cut on I forget exactly what it was, but pay attention to that because, and this would be very interesting because if Turkey's inflation starts to moderate, and remember, their rates are still very high. It's still up around 12% or something like that. You know, they brought it down from wherever it was, 15 or 18%. If inflation starts to moderate in Turkey, I will tell you right now, and I would bet any amount of money that it would be completely, once again, ignored by the people on the Fed and all the mainstream economists here in the United States. They won't pay any attention to that. It would be a really cool development if that happened. Now, Turkey has other things going on which are contributing to inflation, like they're running big fiscal and current account deficits, so that doesn't help. It's not only an interest rate factor. Okay, they got the other two factors that are also driving up inflation. So you know, while cutting the rate, and you really got to bring it down to zero, cutting the rate would help. And if they brought it way down to like zero, that would definitely help. Russia, by the way, cut rates, and the ruble strengthened, and but they got other things going on as well, like with oil as an oil exporter and paying in rubles. But anyway, what I was saying is, if Turkey's inflation starts to moderate, that would be a cool thing. Not that it would cause anybody to, any one of these people to change their view at all, because again, they're locked in. They're locked into this orthodoxy. I've had people ask me, well, Mike, don't you think they really know, but they're doing this for some ulterior motive? Maybe they want to see that fiscal transfer into the economy. Maybe they want to add that additional income. And my response to that is, in my years when I was a contributor on Fox News, and I was there for 10 years, I got to meet a lot of these economists. I tell the story in the past. I've told this story many times about David Stockman. I'm not going to repeat it again. I'm sure if you search in my channel here, you'll find that story. I've told that story so many times. But the thing is, I met a lot of these mainstream economists. I met people on the Fed, all right, and I've spoken with them because they used to come by from time to time, to do a hit on TV. And the one thing that stood out in all of my conversations with these people, universally, was how often they contradicted themselves when they came to explaining their views. And one thing you can tell about a person, like if that person's really cunning and has some kind of ulterior motive, and it's all thought out in this kind of Machiavellian way, and they're going to say one thing, but in fact they really are doing, they're thinking something else, and they're doing that one thing as a smokescreen. They're not going to be contradicting themselves like left and right. They're going to have their story down to where, maybe it makes sense. Maybe I got to, consider more what they're saying. But no, they contradict their own arguments, like constantly. That's how you know. Anyway, that's it for today, folks. Don't worry. Stay positive. Things are going to be all right. As long as we don't have World War III. That if you want to worry about something, that's the thing you got to worry about. Bye.